Good morning. Welcome to a Let's Talk Parkinson's online event brought to you by Parkinson's Community Los Angeles. Today is the second part of Roadmaps to Better Living, a series designed to provide you with wellness and fitness strategies and tools to help you manage your symptoms and live your best life with Parkinson's. I'm Judy Yaris, Vice President of PCLA. For those of you who don't know us, we're a Los Angeles-based nonprofit that supports families living with Parkinson's, and we do this all through our free online education events, support groups, our information and referral program, and so much more. This series is brought to you by our Let's Talk Parkinson's sponsors, Abbott, AbbVie, Boston Scientific, Medtronic, and Synovian. Our programs are also made possible by donations from the Parkinson's community. If you appreciate free programs like this one, I hope you'll consider making a donation on our website at www.pcla.org. But before we get started, I have just a few quick rules and notes for you. We're recording today's event for our YouTube channel. Your image will not be visible in the YouTube video. Please stay muted to keep background noise at a minimum, and we'll have time for questions at the end. You can submit them in the chat at any time during the presentation, but if typing is difficult for you, I will ask for spoken questions from the audience at the end. And please keep your questions on topic. We'll try to answer other questions if there's extra time. Now, please join me in welcoming our speaker today, Patrick Lasauce. Patrick is PCLA's president and a certified strength and conditioning specialist and a personal trainer who has specialized in working with people with Parkinson's for the last 16 years. He's the creator of Smart XPD training system and is internationally recognized as an authority on exercise for Parkinson's. And Patrick, thank you for joining us today.
Judy, that was a flawless introduction.
I know, so sorry, Patrick.
Thank you so much, and hello everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces here. I'm going to share my screen here and see if we can't get ourselves going here. Can everybody see that? Let me see. Give me a thumbs up. Hey, Art and Judy, can you see that? Give me a thumbs up. I can see you guys there. Okay, great. All right, so first of all, I want to give a shout out and a thanks to Z Altu, who did a really amazing presentation last week. He handled part one, and I'm going to be talking to you today about part two, which is going to be exercise. So if you did not get a chance to see Z's presentation, it is currently up on our YouTube channel, and you can go ahead and take a look at it if you like kind of the direction that we're presenting here. So again, I'm Patrick, and I'm president of PCLA, and I'm very honored to be working with some incredibly generous and well-intentioned folks. I really love the work that we do, and it's been a journey. Judy and I have been together for, I don't know, probably as long as I've been doing this, working with Parkinson. So it's been a journey of love with close friends. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy our presentation. Z and I are trying to create a format or some content to help you really live better and give strategies and ideas and things that you can focus on. And so today I'm going to be talking about exercise. And we kind of already know that. This presentation, by the way, will be available. We'll be sending it out if you guys want a copy of it, so there's no need to take notes. So this is kind of my thing, how to live your best. Maintaining these 5 categories can really help you optimize your quality of life and instruct a broader understanding of how to remain healthy, happy, and functional. These are just kind of my takes over doing it over the years, that to make sure that you kind of identify these categories, make sure you've got the boxes checked. The first one is your medical team, making sure that you've got the best people in your area to help you with the medical types of decisions you'll be making. Number 2 is nutrition. I'm just going to kind of go quickly through these. Of course, we want to be eating healthy, possibly organic, and Z covered this in his other presentation. 3 is exercise, and I'll be covering that. And 4th, what I've noticed and is really critical is your sleep hygiene, especially with Parkinson's. You'll notice that if you have a couple bad nights of sleep, you your symptoms might worsen. They might become exacerbated. It doesn't mean you've reached a new baseline by any stretch of the imagination. It just means you need to get your sleep, and 7 to 8 hours of sleep is, I believe, what they're recommending. And then the fifth one, which has come into really stark contrast here, at least for me, is the mental health, especially during this time when we've been having to kind of keep to ourselves with COVID. Mental health and socialization. A diagnosis of Parkinson's is tough enough without the non-motor things that can occur, such as depression. So we want to make sure we have someone to talk to. And if we're feeling a little out of sorts, we want to let our doctors know, because there might be some non-motor stuff going on there. So those are the 5 categories that you want to be aware of. You want to be maintaining on a daily basis. So, does exercise cure Parkinson's? So there is currently no cure for Parkinson's, but now what you're going to see through this presentation is that research now demonstrates that exercise has now been shown to slow the progression and of the disease, which is fantastic. And I will say that when I first started this, 16 years ago or whatever it's been, there wasn't a whole bunch of stuff out there. They were talking about exercise. They were talking about physical therapy. They were using them interchangeably. There weren't that many studies out. There was yoga and there was Tai Chi. LSVT Big was just starting to come out, which you guys probably have heard of. But there just wasn't the research to support it. And when I first started this, I would hear stories of doctors saying to avoid exercise, believe that or not. Well, now we know that's not true. And I'm going to be citing some research during this presentation. I'm not going to go over it too much in depth, but it'll be enough that if you're curious, you'll be able to look at the presentation and go do a quick Google search and pull up the studies. And I say this on almost all of my presentations: beware of false claims on the internet and in books. I wish I could tell you that there was a cure, but right now there's not. But what there is out there is tons of strategies and interventions that can make your life better. Parkinson's is not a death sentence. You can live with joy, happiness, function, health, family. So just keep that in mind, but be aware that this community is kind of red meat for predatory practices. There's teas, there's tons of different stuff that people claim cure and reverse, and just be careful about that. But the great news is now that we know exercise is one of the things that can help. So how much do I need to exercise? I've got 2 different things here. So I'm going to be referring to the American College of Sports Medicine quite a bit in terms of protocols. They're basically the ultimate authority on exercise that everybody goes to. They're fantastic. But what they recommend is just about 30 minutes, 5 days a week. And this is my thing. I'll just say this, that 30 minutes for me does not include your warm up and your cool down. So just keep that in mind. And this is for basically you're a person who maybe doesn't have Parkinson's, a person that doesn't have too much going on. And this can be very appropriate for people with Parkinson's as well. But what I'll qualify this with that, and this is from the Parkinson's Foundation website, the second bullet here, is that there's just no exercise prescription that is absolutely right for every person with Parkinson's. The type of exercise you do depends on symptoms and challenges. For sedentary people, just getting up and moving is beneficial. More active people can build up to a regular, more vigorous exercise or activity. And many approaches work well to help maintain and improve mobility, flexibility, balance, and ease non-motor Parkinson's symptoms such as depression or constipation. So that's all great news. But there's been times when I've been working with someone that has been in a place where they have not been moving for months or even years. So just doing 3 minutes of work was the way we would start. So just keep that in mind. You want to build up to what the American College of Sports Medicine recommends, but it may take some time. Okay, so here we go. Let me close this window so I can see my notes. So here, I'm going to be discussing 6 self-care exercise components that you should maintain. So we're going to get into some fitness labs. You're going to be doing some movement with me today. Most of the stuff we're going to be doing is going to be in the chair because we have all different levels. Before we even get into that, I want you to make sure you are working with an eye towards safety. Be conservative. If you don't feel comfortable, just skip whatever it is we're doing. But in any event, with your exercise program, these are the 6 things that we really want to address. And they seem obvious, but you'll see as we go through the studies that each of them kind of is really important and puts together the whole picture of how you need to approach your exercise program. And there is not one person that is here with us today that doesn't need to exercise. We all need to exercise. But we want to address aerobic fitness. We want to address strength, flexibility, balance, coordination, and agility, one of my favorites. And then activities of daily living. And again, you don't need to write this down. We're going to be going over all of these. Okay, why isn't my arrow working now? Okay, so fitness lab number 0. Okay, so I've got 6 other fitness labs that match those previous categories, but I really felt it would be important for me to cover the posture lesson that I do because it informs everything. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to kind of stop this sharing here. And I'm going to put my my image back in. Can you guys see me? Am I spotlit now? Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Barry. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick posture lesson. I'm going to give you 7 things, locations, anatomical positions on your body to be aware of. You know, through life, maybe our partner says, honey, you're leaning over. Honey, you're crooked. Honey, stand up straight. Now, these are all observations that are correct, right? But they're not necessarily all that helpful in helping us optimize and improve our posture. So we're going to go over it right now. Now, again, if you don't feel comfortable standing, just go ahead and watch this or do the parts in the chair. That's fine. But I'm going to stand up and we're going to go over our standing posture and we're going to practice it. How do you get better at a musical instrument? You practice it. How do you get better at posture? You practice it. But how do you practice it if you don't know specifically what you need to be doing? So what I'm going to have you do is stand up and we're going to do a little quick assessment here. I'm going to have you just rock side by side, side to side, you know, lifting one foot up and the other to where you're kind of finding yourself with your feet directly beneath your hips or slightly wider, maybe pointed straight ahead. All right. Now, go ahead after you do that and glance down and see how you did. Okay, so I typically have my left toe turned out a little bit, so I know to kind of correct for that. So I ended up pretty good. I want to start with the ground. Okay, so as you look down, you should always be able to maybe drop a soccer ball between your feet. There's a position called the Romberg position in balance where they put your feet side by side and they have you practice stuff. I never do that. This is my thing. I'm always training for a nice wide base of support. And when I'm doing stuff where I want my feet together, I'll stagger them. So keep your feet apart. Always practice and train for a nice, safe, wide base. So that's the position of our feet. Our knees should be slightly unlocked, not bent. Sometimes you'll see this in Parkinson's where the knees are bent. We want to try to keep them straight, but not locked. We're going to move up to the hip. This is my favorite part of the lesson here. We're going to imagine our belt line is a bucket of water and it's filled up all the way to the brim. And we're going to mobilize between an anterior and posterior pelvic tilt to get this hip complex set up to support the spine. So we're going to arch our back and let the water spill out the front. And then we're going to squeeze our butt, tuck our tailbone, flatten the back, and then spill the water out the back. And we're going to mobilize back and forth between each position to try to find the midpoint. So all the way back, all the way front, going back and forth. And what I like to tell people is you can practice this anywhere except for a crowded elevator. Ha! All right, so what I'm gonna have you do is kind of rotate back to where you perceive your hips to be, you know, your position between halfway between both. You should put your hand back here. You should feel a nice little slope. When we're in a neutral posture, our spine is not straight. It's got a little S curve to it. We want that nice curve in the lumbar spine. What we're going to do now, we learned 3 different ways: visually, verbally, and kinesthetically. We're going to create a kinesthetic cue. And what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you wrap your clavicle, that little area right there. Wrap it so you can feel it when you stop wrapping it. Make it a little irritated. There we go. Okay, now take that area and you're just going to rotate it up as you pull your shoulder blades together and down. The shoulder blades are so important. I call the area between your shoulder blades, and again, this is my thing, I call that ground zero, the most important part of your body. Being able to position those shoulder blades and activate those muscles there between your shoulder blades to pull them together and down fixes so much out in front. We are now going to glance down at our hands and make sure that our knuckles are pointed to the side and our thumbs are pointed straight ahead. If you see your hand is kind of rotated forward like this, it's not an issue here. It's up here, pulling those shoulder blades together and down, ears opposite shoulders and chin level. So we've got the feet, the knees, the hips, the clavicle, the shoulder blades, right? The hands, those are something to be aware of, the chin and the ears. Now you're sitting here going, you got to be kidding me. I can't stand like this all day. And you're right. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a big breath in and we're going to relax. Just stay in that position, but take a little hitch off, I like to say. This is your proper posture. What we're going to do here briefly is we're going to create a muscular imprint. And I'm going to ask you, definitely don't hold your breath during this. But what I want you to do, starting from the floor, I want you to tighten your leg muscles, your legs, your stomach, squeeze your arms and your chin, all of the muscles tighten your body, breathe in and relax and exhale. And we're going to do this one more time. Feet, legs, tighten those legs, butt, stomach, arms, chest, back, neck, bite down on your jaw and push your tongue up against the roof of your mouth. Breathe and relax. Okay, so what we're doing is we're trying to activate more muscles in this position to assist with muscle memory. And we're going to practice posture briefly before we go back to the presentation by doing what I call the Wizard of Oz scarecrow. So when the scarecrow fell off of the pole there, he slumped down to the right, right? We're going down here and we're going to stand right back up and see if we can go right back up into that position, that imprint we created, and breathe. We never want to hold our breath. Oftentimes when we're working on a skill or something, we hold and that stops our breath. So try to continue to remind yourself to breathe. And we're going to fall off that pole and we're going to scarecrow down to the left. And then come right back up and drop into the posture. This event, bam, that setting of the posture is something, if you leave here with nothing else, I would love it for it to be the mindful practice of setting your posture. Maybe after this presentation, you'll remember to do it, I don't know, 2 or 3 times during the day. I'll remember what Patrick told us about that. Let me see there. There you go. I said it. Maybe tomorrow you remember to do it 6 or 10 times. And then the day after, whatever day that is, I guess Tuesday, you do it 40 times. You are going to be improving your posture quietly throughout the day. It's one of the things I refer to as a small change making a big difference. So if you leave with nothing else, you got the posture lesson, you got the locations, practice it, practice it. Okay, let's come on back here. And I'm going to bump us back to the share screen and go back into the presentation. Okay. All right, so there we did it. And there you see they're all listed here for you, these 7 or 8 points, whatever, 7 points that will help you improve your posture. Okay, so we're moving into aerobic exercise. So what is aerobic exercise? These are different types of activities that get your heart rate up. You could think of walking or treadmill, biking, or even a stationary bike is great. Elliptical rowers are great, especially with the arm functions. I love those. Swimming is one that isn't on here that actually falls into a couple categories that has become very popular is boxing. And anyway, how often do we want to do this? We want to do this 3 to 4 days per week. And in terms of how intense, that really depends on, your current conditioning. I always like to say you want to work a little harder than you did the day before, but on a scale of 1 to 10, on 10 being the toughest you could ever possibly work, the sweet spot would be anywhere from about 6 to maybe 7 or 8 would probably do the trick for us. 30 minutes, continuous or accumulated exercise. So like I said, for me, that doesn't qualify. Your warm-up's not part of that. You need a 5 to 10 minute warm-up and a cool down at the end, which could be 3 to 5 minutes, I suppose, and then a stretch. And this is, again, from the College of Sports Medicine. So this is the great news. Look at this list here. This is what aerobic exercise is going to help you, and it's now been proven. It's going to help you with your motor symptoms, function, your overall function, which is a whole other presentation in itself, gait, your cardiovascular fitness, obviously, your balance. It helps with your balance. And this is great. It's protective against depression, and it improves your non-motor symptoms. So get your 30 minutes of exercise. And here are just some of the studies that have been done now that discuss how aerobic, and then these are studies that are done specific to Parkinson's disease. So there are all these great new studies out there available to us that really validate aerobic exercise is an important component. All right, here we go. Fitness lab number one. And again, we're gonna stay in the chair, but we're gonna do a couple of fun movements here to introduce you, to help you experience exercise. So thumbs up. Are we good still? Am I back on the main screen? Okay, thanks. Thanks, everyone. I love seeing thumbs up. Okay, here we go. So here's the deal. We're gonna just start moving with a basic swimming pattern that is very easy to coordinate. We're gonna do the breaststroke. And again, if we're going through some of this movement and you wanna try it standing and you feel no problem, I got it, you can. But I encourage you just to stay in the chair with an eye for safety. And if you get dizzy or you feel like you need to stop, go ahead and stop. So we're not moving real fast, right? So you got the bandwidth. I can ask you to think about something else, and that something else is going to be large. Up and out. Throw them up and out. Bigger. Up and out. We want to work on large body patterns. Breathe. You'll feel your heart rate start coming up and your breathing increasing, your respiration increasing. So this is a simple little movement in the chair. You're experiencing aerobic exercise. The other thing we can add to it is an element of function in terms of gait, right? Which would mean we'd be working in an asymmetrical pattern, or what I call reciprocal. So what we're going to do here is we're going to reposition ourselves in the chair, and we're going to take our right arm and we're going to throw it up and back, turning the palm up. As we throw that back, we're going to kick our left leg out to the side. So it's going to be right hand, left leg. And as I kick it out, I'm flexing the ankle and tapping the edge of the heel on the ground. Do it a couple sides here. And again, this is requiring you to activate your reciprocal opposite limbs. One more. And let's go right leg, left hand. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something now through all these moves that for whatever reason becomes difficult. I want you to fan your hands. I want your hands as wide and open as they can be as you reach out and back, turning the thumb up, opening that chest up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to alternate. So right hand, left leg, left hand, right leg, back and forth. And again, we're moving through a pattern, a consistent pattern. Our heart rate's coming up, our breathing is coming up, and we're doing cardiovascular or aerobic fitness. And there's a layer of value to it because we're navigating our body through a reciprocal pattern. Let's do one more on each side. And let's add a little choreography to this. What we're going to do is we're going to do both hands and both legs. Open those arms up as if you're catching a giant beach ball. You can even arch back a little bit towards the sky, getting the legs out. We're chugging along here. We're probably up around 6 or 7 maximal heart rate, or 6 or 7 on a scale 1 to 10. So I said we're going to add some choreography to this. Now this is a symmetrical pattern, right? Both arms are doing the same thing. We're going to alternate and create a layer of challenge because we're going to alternate between the reciprocal movement and the symmetrical movement. So we'll take it slow. It's right hand, left leg. Remember, this is what we started with. Other side. And now together and back. And now you have to re-coordinate the reciprocal pattern and up. Right hand, left leg, left hand, right leg, and up. And this is going to be recorded. So if you're just like, oh, I love this, but I can't figure it out, you'll be able to go back and check it out later. And let's pick the speed up just a little bit so we can really experience this cardiovascular. Go at your own pace, challenge yourself. But here we go. One, and together we're going to do 3 more. Here we go. 1, together, and 2. Yeah, and last 1, 3, and together, and back. Okay, here's the deal. Big breath in through the nose, let it out slow. What am I going to ask you to do right now? Set your posture. Even though you're in the chair, go through your checklist for the spine, the shoulder blades, and set your posture. Okay. Whew. That's your cardio. All right, let's move right along here. Let me share a screen again and get back to the presentation. Okay. So, purpose helps increase circulation. You've just experienced that. You're probably sitting there going, yeah, I can feel it. That's cardiovascular. That's aerobic fitness. Okay. All right, strength training. One of my favorites, actually. And types of activities would be weight machines, elastic resistance bands, body weight exercises. For those of you that know, I have a YouTube channel. I just put up a full workout using just body weight that I did in a park while on vacation. So that if you, I'll be talking about my YouTube channel at the end, but there's a bunch of ton of information up there for that. How often should you do that? Do this aerobic stuff or the strength training, excuse me, 2 to 3 days a week. And again, how intense? I'd establish that with a fitness professional. And typically in terms of sets and repetitions, what you really want to go for is maybe 1 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. Begin with 1 set, and then you'll progress to 3 sets as you get stronger. And you'll notice that you get stronger pretty quickly with strength training. A little note in terms of strength training, that is the art of strength training. So strength training is repetitions grouped into sets. When you're ever doing, and we're going to do some here in a little bit, when you're doing repetitions grouped into sets, you want every repetition to be precisely the same as the previous one. It's kind of a little way of tapping the body on the shoulder and saying, hey, this is a new activity I need to do. I need you to get stronger. So consistency and movement with strength training, this is my thing. I think it's really important. And so studies now show that, again, strength training improves your balance, your strength, motor symptoms, dynamic balance, body and speed velocity, which is great. Slowness, bradykinesia is not a motor symptom of Parkinson's. It can improve your quality of life. Studies show your function. It helps with depression, and it can reduce falls, which is huge. And here are just a couple of studies that specifically, again, discuss strength training and Parkinson's. All right, FitLab 2. Okay, so we're going to jump into another thing here. I want to qualify this to make sure we continue to breathe through this presentation here. Okay, so let me back out here. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to stay in the chair for this, but I'm going to have you experience some strength training. And whenever I say my classes, my online classes, we're going to do crazy 8s, everyone groans because it ain't easy. And that's what we're doing right now. We're going to do crazy 8s. With all this stuff, what I need to ask from you is to really kind of commit to the instruction. And you'll see what I mean here. What I'm going to have you do, we're in the chair, but we're going to actually train our lower body. I'm going to have you go ahead and kick your right leg straight out, straighten that knee, and do what I call power flex on that ankle. Really flex that ankle. Try to touch your toe to your knee and hold it there. You're going to brace the other side of the body here on the other side. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be lifting our legs up. Now, here's the deal. This leg. We're going to do 8 repetitions. In order for the repetition to count, this knee has got to get above that knee. And you'll see it gets tough. So nice and tall. Go ahead and pick that leg up. 1, 2, breathe. Don't hold your breath. 3, 4. You should really start to feel it. 5, 6. Keep the leg straight. 7, 8. Now we're going to draw circles with the full leg. 1, 2. Pick it up. 3. Big circles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now reverse the circles. Oh, this is why we call it crazy eights. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And slowly lower that down and ease that leg back. Sorry, guys, we got to do the other side. So this is an example of strength training actually using your own body weight. And we're in a position where gravity is really creating challenge for this muscle group here in the hip flexor. So go ahead and brace on the other side. Again, breathe, don't hold your breath, and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sit up straight. 6, 7, 8, circles, drawing with the heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct the posture. 5, 6, 7, and 8. And lower that back down. Pull that heel back towards you and go ahead and take a big breath in and exhale. And as you do so, go ahead and set your posture up. Go ahead and externally rotate your hands out here. This is what is the most aptly named stretch or position. It's called the no money stretch. Anyway, this I love, and I do use this a lot because it really helps us get our shoulders into a good position. Big breath in. We're going to do one more thing here. We're going to do a contraction drill. Before we get into it, I want you just to move around in your chair and assess how you feel. How do you feel right now? Because what we're going to do is, without any weights, we're going to activate and summon as much muscles as we can do, activate to press our arms forward and then clench our fists and pull our arms back. Now you could just go here and here, right? Without from point A to point B, but I need you really tighten everything up, and we're going to push forward, squeeze, and grab something and pull on back. Breathe, don't hold your breath, and press forward and pull. Really open those hands up. Press and pull. Slow and controlled, but squeeze and pull. Breathe. We're going to press up overhead. Grab something up there and pull back down and press. Grab a fistful of cloud and pull like you're doing a chin up. Press and pull, 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 pull. One more, press. Come on, press that car up overhead and pull it back down. And now press the walls away and pull them back in. Remember that Star Wars when Chewie and Han Solo, they're in the trash compactor and they had to keep the walls pushed away. And push and pull. One more time, push out and pull. Push forward, activate, pull back, push up, breathe, pull down, push out, squeeze back, press forward, pull back, press upward, get them up, pull down, out, back. One last time. Come on, press forward, press, 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 and pull, up, reach up and down, and out, and in. Relax the hands, relax everything. Big breath in and exhale. You've just experienced something very similar to strength training. Breathe. You can feel like everything's activated, right? You got the circulation going, feels good. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay, we're coming back to the presentation. Man, I'm out of breath. Okay. So that was the strength training lab. We're doing on time here. Whoo, man. Okay, got to get through this. All right. Flexibility. Okay. One of my favorites. Slow static stretching. All major muscle groups is what they recommend. How often to do it? 2 to 3 days per week, with daily being more effective if you have the time for it. You always want to be slightly warmed up when you're stretching. You don't want to just go in and start to stretch. Stretch to the point of slight discomfort. Almost everybody overstretches. It should be slightly uncomfortable, but not painful. How long? Holding the stretch for 10 to 30 seconds. 2 to 4 repetitions for each exercise. And again, that's American College of Sports Medicine. And again, flexibility and Parkinson's research, it's out there now. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, it helps with the final spinal flexibility, physical performance, balance, mobility, neck tone, and posture, right? Which we now know how to practice and work on. Okay, so we're gonna do some flexibility exercises, and we got a little late start. So let me look at what my menu was here in terms of what I wanted us to do. Okay, I am going to have us do a little routine that I was inspired by my daughter, May. I have 2 6-year-old girls right as of today. They're twins, and watching them develop has been inspiring and informative. And at 6 months old, May was on the table. You know how babies are kind of sorting out their limbs. They don't have control yet. They're getting the programming down. And I grabbed my camera because I noticed something. What I noticed was the beginnings of a gait pattern. Now, could have been coincidental, I don't know, but she was repeating it. So this little deal here is a stretch for your full body and your posture. You're really going to feel it, if you commit to the instructions. It's a little routine based on her movement. So first of all, set yourself up nice and tall on the edge of your chair here. Big breath in. Before we start, exhale. You're going to raise your right hand up, lower your left hand, and with the muscles in your back, really pull your arms behind you. Breathe, lift up that right leg slightly and press the lift the left leg up slightly. Here's that position here, and press your right foot into the floor. Breathe and release. Bring your hands together and tap your fingertips twice, and then reverse that setup. Right hand down, left hand up. Lift that right leg up and press the left foot down into the floor. Torque them back, guys. Release. Bring your fingertips together, tap them twice. Lower the hands down, bring the arms out to the side as the left legs come out. Backs of the knuckles, not your palms touching. Bring it back together, hinge forward from the hip, and sit up into the no money position. That's the routine. We're gonna run through this again. Right hand up, left hand down, pull and lift, release, tap them twice, pull, lift that right leg, press the left foot into the floor, release, tap twice, arms down, out to the sides. Bring your hands, backs your hands up overhead. Hinge forward from the hip and no money. We're gonna do this one more time. Pain-free range of motion. Should have said that in the beginning. If it hurts, don't do it. Right hand up, pull them, pull them, pull them. Release, tap them twice, up, pull them, release, fingertips together, down and out. Backs of the hands touching, bring them together, palms up, no money. Big breath in through the nose. Slowly exhale, lower your hands down. Sort yourself on the chair, sort yourself out. Go ahead and align that spine, chin is level, and now assess how you feel. Hopefully you feel like you actually kind of just went through something that was not too painful, but kind of set you up to a better position and feeling better. So that's an example of a flexibility routine that can really help. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation and dig right back in. And so it improves mobility, function, reduces falls, all this great stuff for flexibility. Okay. Self-care. Oh, balance exercises. Okay. Love, love, love balance exercises. There are a bunch of different types of them. Static balance exercises. Of course, the single leg stance or the yoga tree pose. People are familiar with that. The yoga tree pose is not easy. There's dynamic balance as well. And seated slow weight shift with side reach is one of the ones we'll probably do here today. Slow marching in place. Some disciplines that really involve balance specifically is like Tai Chi, yoga. Dancing is a great one for it. Again, how often? 2 to 3 days per week. Moderate intensity really for balance. You're not going to be looking for it like, a level of 9 or 10 in terms of working your balance for sure. And in classes that you're going to, if you attend, will be anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes, and you'll start to see some improvements by doing just that much 2 or 3 days a week. And so again, the research, study so balance improves your posture, your speed of gait, which is a real big one. It can also improve your activities of daily living, or referred to as your ADLs, thus directly improving preventing falls, improving your balance will help with that. And there was a study that showed that actually doing your balance exercises at home are as good as doing your balance exercises as going to the gym. So you can still get some great value by just working out of your home. And here's some of the studies that you can refer to on balance, a couple of balance programs that they reviewed, and turned out on the end of them, people came out better. Fitness nab number 4, we're going to do some balance. Okay. All right, let me stop the share screen. And here's the deal. We're going to do some balance in the chair. And I'm actually going to demonstrate, you can do some balance if you want a dynamic balance drill standing. But first of all, what I'm going to have us do is sit up nice and tall and straight. This is one of my favorites because it's great for the core as well. We're going to bring our arms out so they are parallel to the ground. You can imagine being in a river or a pool, a warm pool, and our arms are sliding across the surface back and forth of the water there. So there's a little bit of manipulation you're going to need to do to keep your arms parallel to the ground. As I press out to the right, I'm going to have you lift your left leg way out so you can get out over the edge of the chair. And you'll feel your core just really activate and hold yourself, that your network of muscles and tissues between your rib cages there, and everything is tightening up to facilitate this move without you even thinking about it. It's actually pretty cool. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. Back and forth. And this is a little balance exercise you can do in the chair. It's relatively simple. It's safe. We're going to reach out here and we're going to hold kind of like a plank, and you can feel. In fact, if you just take your hands and tighten up, push your fingertips into your stomach there, you feel that great core work. And we're going to go over to this side and hold. And depending on how long you want to hold, it's kind of your choice. But it's a great way to practice some balance, some coordination, and get the added benefit of some core work. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have us get up out of the chair. But before we do, we're going to set our posture. And again, if you don't feel like you're safe to be doing this standing, just skip it. Eye towards safety always. We're going to get up out of the chair. First thing we're going to do before we do anything is set our posture, because we're not doing that regularly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little reciprocal leg sweep and reach, almost like you were walking, but we're going to be bringing our arms out to the side. Now I have the chair here as a way you might be able to use it between sweeps here. If you don't feel stable, I'm going to actually move this out of the way now. I just wanted to show you where you could put the chair. And what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to the side, and we'll tap our fingertips twice between each. And what I'm looking for this is balance and flow. It's dynamic balance. What I would like you to do is only raise your foot high enough so you can control the upward phase and the lowering phase. It doesn't have to be much. There can be a little bit of like adjustments. We're looking for these like programming events. This is how we improve our balance, but I don't want you to feel like you're in danger of falling. As you get more comfortable, you can reach a little further out to the side. This is high level stuff. Don't be frustrated if you're having trouble with it. Be cautious. We're going to skip the finger tap now, and we're going to actually transition this into a more linear movement or more gait-like movement. Walking is a series of single leg balances in flow. And as we move through this, I want you to think about reaching back as well as forward. This is I use this in a lot of my exercise classes because I think it's really high value balance work. And it also encourages us to explore that world, that mysterious world that is right behind us that we can't see. Reach back. Don't worry about going forward. You're going to come forward. Fine. Reach that arm back. Back, back, back. Back. Okay, there we go. There's a little balance drill for us. Let's get back to the presentation. Good work. Set your posture and take your seat. Be careful. I kind of rushed back to the chair there. And here we go. Wait, did I share my screen again? Escape. Let me see here. I'm not sure I have my screen shared. Let me just double check. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let's move along here. There we go. Okay, coordination and agility exercise is really, really one of my favorites. Type of activities would be Tai Chi, yoga, multi-directional stepping. How often? 2 to 3 days a week. It's not really applicable. This is like a skill-based practice in terms of intensity. How long? 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And hopefully it's something that you enjoy and that you find fun and engaging. Studies show that agility training improves your coordination, your balance, your gait, your cognition, your functional independence, your quality of life, your mobility, and your motor ability. And here's just some of the research studies that they've done. Again, Parkinson's specific, that showed that coordination and movement can improve all of these wonderful things. Okay, let's see. We're going to do a seated movement thing here, and I'm running short on time. We only got one more, so we're going to be fine. But I want to go ahead and give us a demonstration of what might be a coordination exercise. And I just have this ball sitting here, and I just want to talk briefly about playing catch with yourself. It's a coordination agility drill. I use the ball in a lot of my exercise classes because there's so much. This simple activity that we've been doing for our entire lives has so much nuance to it, so much important moments, important aspects to it. So I just wanted to mention this before I forget. Get a ball, put it on your counter where you see it, and play catch with yourself. 1 minute a day. I'm not asking for much. Okay, let's go ahead and sit tall in the chair. We're going to bring our hands out in front of us, and we're going to flex our wrists. Make them big. Open those hands up. And we're going to make a fist, and we're going to point our knuckles at the ground. We're going to do this again as we open our hands up and spread the fingers apart. I want you to lift your toes. And as you make a fist and point your knuckles at the ground, I want you to lift your heels. And we're going to go back and forth between both of these movements. Only thing moving, ankles and wrists. Try not to fuss your arms around. Keep them still. Isolate the ankle and the wrist. Your knees are going to come up a little bit, but don't worry about that. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you bring them up and hold. Take that right hand, point it at the ground. Lift that right heel off the ground. And now back and forth. I often say that you might find this easier if you bite your tongue. This is an example of a coordination exercise. It's a little tough to do, right? Whether or not, I would argue, whether or not you actually successfully navigate that, it's the try, it's the effort, it's the energy that you expend in trying a coordinated activity, which is really going to help you. So in your exercise program, you want to have something that is requiring technique or requiring a skill set or coordination. Ping pong, boxing, boxing is one of the ones I told you falls into both categories, right? It's wonderful to go out, hit the road, go for a power walk, get on a bike, get out into the country, ride, let your mind wander. Great. But we also want to have part of our work involve focus and concentration and coordination. And hopefully, like I said, you'll be able to find something that you enjoy that has that component to it. Let me just make sure I'm still, let me get back here, I hope. Let's start my screen share. I just don't want to go back to a presentation and leave you guys behind. Okay, here we go. Oh, where's that button? Here. Okay, we're almost through this stuff here. You guys are so patient. Nobody's like coming off mute and complaining. I really appreciate that. Okay, this is going to be a fun one. Activities of daily living fitness. There's been studies that have incorporated the things that we do throughout the day into an exercise program can really help. Sit to stand and walk, walking up and down inclined surfaces, weaving in between cones. That's another agility test there, or an agility exercise. Walking up and down stairs, reaching in multiple directions, sitting and standing, stepping patterns involving multiple directions. One of my favorites. If you come to my classes, you'll be doing a lot of that. And studies show that daily incorporating these types of things into your workout improves your quality of life, your balance, your confidence, your gait, your mobility, and your independence. And I've actually found 2 studies here that talk about Nordic. One talks about Nordic walking, and then the other talks about task-oriented circuit training having an effect. And these are, again, Parkinson's specific studies, which is so awesome to see more of. Okay, so here's our last fit lab that we're going to do here. And we're going to do something that you do every day. Now, again, if you want to skip this, if we're going to be doing a sit to stand, and we're going to do a little bit of movement. Before we begin this, if you have balance issues, maybe skip this, but I want to talk about how we're going to be sitting down. I want to do a quick demonstration. Now, Parkinson's can make things messy, and we want to be able to practice doing one thing at a time and then switching. They call it set changing in physical therapy. I call it task sequencing. If you see someone, now just watch this, don't get out of the chair. If you see someone with Parkinson's come into a chair, oftentimes they're starting to sit before they get here. And then they'll kind of come in, they'll swamp over, and they might not even be sitting straight. And then this is where they are. It's messy. We're going to be using a concept I call GPS, which stands for get there, position, and sit. Okay. It's taking that event and breaking it down into 3 parts. It's going to look like this. G is get there. Okay. I got there. GP. Oh, position. I'm going to position myself with the chair behind me. 3, sit. I'm going to glance back, make sure the chair's still there, and I'm going to slowly lower myself to the chair. How much nicer does that look? And all we did was practice the discipline of task sequencing. We're going to use this now to incorporate an activity of daily living into a little routine here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a sit to stand. Now, on my YouTube channel, I have a way of doing this called the and up. I'm not going to go over that now because we're short on time, but I'm going to have you throw yourselves forward and come up out of the chair. We are going to walk forward into a turn, make a little circle, turn to the right there. And from here, we're going to GPS. We're going to get there. We're going to position ourselves, and we're going to sit. We're going to do this again, and we're going to go the other way. Remember, or not remember, I haven't said this yet. When you're turning around or turning, always think of things in a forward turn. Don't back up. All right. Up, sit to stand. Forward turn around. GPS it. Get there. Position. Sit. And up. Forward turn. Get there. Position. Sit. One more time. This is an activity of daily living. We're getting out of the chair. We're coming forward. We're turning around. Get there. Position and sit. So this is an example of an exercise that may have been in those studies where they incorporate activities that we do in daily life that become difficult, that can become difficult with Parkinson's. I say often that Parkinson's can make things we learn to do without being taught difficult. So sometimes mundane and seemingly simple things need to be thought about, need to be analyzed, need to be broken down and practiced, like getting out of a chair, like getting into a chair, like walking. So let me get this here. Okay. And all right, where are we here? You guys, there we go. So In summation, the science proves it. Yes, exercise works. These are the things that we've talked about, that it improves your quality of life, your activities of daily living, your balance, your confidence, your gait, your mobility, your agility, your strength, helps with fall prevention, depression, and cognition. Why wouldn't you try it? So final words of advice: choose a variety of exercises. Choose exercises you enjoy, include some outdoor exercises as well. Z talked about that in his presentation and covered it in an awesome manner. So check that out again. And then I just listed a couple of programs here that you might have heard of that are either certifications for physical therapists or trainers, that are stuff that we didn't have even 10 years ago, that really, really can help. You're going to be able to find something that you enjoy and that you can do and that can help. And I want to throw out an honorable mention to John Argue, Art of Movement. He's the first guy I discovered very early on. He's retired. Anyway, this is my brand, Smart XPD, and it stands for Strength, Mobility, Agility, Reaction, Technique, Exercise for Parkinson's disease. And these will be in the handout as well. I've got a bunch of no-cost options available to you online. I've got my YouTube channel that has tons of views, tons of subscribers, and I really enjoy. I post up there probably pretty close to weekly. I've got a website, you can check that out. And I also have a line of DVDs that are available on Amazon that have a bunch of different types of programs that really address all the stuff that we've done here. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share. I want to thank all of you for, I think I stopped. Did I stop it?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Thank all of you for your presentation. And if we have some questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I see Z is with us today as well. So I'm going to share my time with him if he wants to chime in, or if you guys have a question from last week, feel free to toss it out here. So is somebody moderating?
Yeah, I am. Patrick, thank you so much. That was great. I got a good workout this morning. My only suggestion is don't do it in a rolling chair, which I was doing. So it makes it a little more challenging, but I thought that was good for me. In any case, we don't really have questions in the chat right now. We've had great comments from people that have really enjoyed it and work out with you regularly. So it's wonderful to see your impact. Your name is well respected in the Parkinson's community. I would like to open it up. If someone has a question and they cannot type it, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. We'll take a minute for that. Let me just see if anybody's doing that. I don't see anything.
Okay, so I have a question. Why doesn't anybody have any questions?
Okay. I think you covered so much. You were so
That's
efficient.
right. We covered it all.
That's right. And someone actually writes in here, Patrick is the best. So I agree with you. I'm a little bit biased, but
Well,
that's my bias. Anyway, Patrick,
I will say, working with this community is really rewarding, and I always get more than I give. So
give a lot.
It's given my life meaning that I didn't have before. So, as I like to say, we went virtual, and I've met people
Patrick
from all over the world now. And I just want to say, as I always say, thank you for inviting me into your house for this time, spending this time with me. And if later on in the afternoon you're looking for something, you can't find it, it's because I took it.
Hey, Patrick, quick question. Someone did ask, what about pickleball? What is pickleball?
Oh, pickleball is great. I think pickleball it's like tennis, and it has movement rules it's become really popular, like the way ping pong became popular a while back. But it's great. And let me speak to that, because we want to have in our work our requirement to respond to an unpredictable visual cue. We want to be prompted to move. We want to be, in fact, I do a movement drill in our class. I call it playing defense. And we have a couple of rules, and you have to kind of react to what you see. So pickleball, if you are waiting, you've got a ball, you don't know where it's going to go, and you don't know which way you're going to move. It's a great, same thing with ping pong. It's a great movement initiation challenge and discipline. And if you think about it, you can only imagine that it's going to keep you sharp in case you step off the curb and a car comes that you didn't see. You're going to get out of the way.
Great, thank you. We have one other question too. How does yard work fit in with exercise? Because I know a lot of people do yard work.
Okay, so I did a presentation a while back, and there's a difference between activity and exercise. All right, I'm going to go ahead and say doing yard work is exercise, but really it's an activity, but it'll keep you, and Zeke handled this in his presentation very well. Talked about all the things that you're going to be having to be doing. You're going to have to get down to the ground. You have to get up, so that stuff is great. It's an activity, and we want to have activities, but we also want to have carved out in our weekly routine where we've got a specific time that is dedicated to a sustained, methodical program that is exercise. So, but yeah, I mean, if you can't get yourself to do that, build a gazebo or which Z talked about is an awesome metaphor, or do some gardening. So yeah.
Great.
And let me just toss this out there. We'll be sending this presentation out to all of you that have registered. And if you want to join the classes, just shoot me an email and I'll put you on the list and you can join us. I'm currently offering all my exercise classes for free with optional payment. If people want to help out, they can. Everyone's welcome. I've got 9 different classes I'm offering. I've got an energetic class, which is tough. I've never found anything quite as tough as it is online. So we really work hard. I've got a gentle class that is mostly in the chair, but I get all levels coming to each class, and I give guidance on how to modify the work. And I really like the gentle class. It's a slower pace. And as you can see, I like to talk, so I can talk through the exercise and talk about some of the nuances of our body, of our movement, things to think about that we wouldn't normally think about, that I've just kind of searched out and have discovered because of people like you that tell me stuff. So
that's great.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Thank you, PCLA, for hosting Z and myself with these parts, part 1 and part 2. And if you have questions that occur to you after the presentation, email Sarah, and she'll get them either to Z or myself, and we'll get them answered. But
well, thank you
there aren't
both,
any further
Patrick.
questions. I guess we kind of ran a little bit over, but we did okay.
No, we did great. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Z. I really appreciate this program.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, Greg, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say, Patrick forgot something. He's got a secret weapon that he uses occasionally, and it's Uncle Charlie. You got to show up to meet Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie definitely works.
All right. Okay. So, all right, Greg, nice one. You teed it all up. All right. So Mike is here. I'll tell the joke. I won't burden you. This is a joke. We oftentimes start our classes with a joke. So this guy comes back from golf, and he comes back to the house, and his wife said, "Well, how was golf, honey?" And he says, I was crushing the ball, but I had this terrible eyesight. I can't find the ball. And she says, "Well, why don't you bring Uncle Charlie?" And he says, "Uncle Charlie's 95 years old. He don't know what's going on." And she says, "Yeah, but he's got great eyesight." So next time he goes, he takes Uncle Charlie golfing with him. He steps up to the tee, and he just crushes the ball. Probably one of the best drives he's had all month. He comes back to the cart, and Uncle Charlie's there. He said, "Uncle Charlie, did you see that?" And Uncle Charlie says, "Yeah, I saw that." And he says, "Where did it go?" And Uncle Charlie says, "I don't remember."
Perfect Parkinson's joke, Patrick. Thank you.
I know. All right. So,
all right.
Thanks, Greg.
So
thanks,
before
Mike.
you all go, I just want to share with you that there's a lot happening with PCLA right now. We have 3 new support groups starting. Okay, one second here. This happened again, where I lose my What's happening? Okay, here we go. Now I can tell you so I don't forget anything. We have 3 new support groups starting in November, a daytime caregiver group, a group just for women with Parkinson's, and a daytime support group exclusively for adult children of a parent with Parkinson's. We have 16 support groups meeting this month, including special groups for the Hispanic community, the young onset population, and those who are grieving a loss. All of our groups are free. Watch your email for more information on how you can join. And mark your calendars for Monday, November 29th for our next Let's Talk Parkinson's event. It'll be a roundtable discussion with lay people that have Parkinson's or have been caring for Parkinson's patients. This is a caregiving event for part of Caregiving Month. We also hope you will join us on Saturday, December 4th. You can meet all of our wonderful medical advisory team. There will be a free Parkinson's education conference, Parkinson's Life Beyond the Basics. We'll be sending you more information on how to register for both of these events.
Judy, I had one question that I wanted to answer.
Sure.
I found in the chat, and it's actually a really important question.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead and finish. Did I cut you off?
I just want to thank our sponsors today: Abbott, AbbVie, Boston Scientific, Medtronic, Synovian, and also by you. By donating, you can join us in our mission to improve the lives of the families in our community who are living with Parkinson's. PCLA is a nonprofit, and all donations are tax deductible. If you enjoyed Let's Talk Parkinson's, please consider donating at PCLA.org to help us continue our work and continue to provide programs like this for free. And always reach out to us with questions at info@PCLA.org or by phone at 310-880-3143. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and stay well. And Patrick, you have one last question?
Yeah, well, 2. One quick one is a really important one. Jay Gately asked, can we over-exercise? And I want to address that real quickly because the answer is yes. And what I tell people is because of the Parkinson's component to this, what you want to do is you, of course, want to work hard, but you want to use the afternoon after your workout and the next day is your barometer. And this is my thing again. I haven't found any studies about that, but what I have found is that I can deliver an exercise to someone without realizing it that makes them really, really tired for the afternoon and the following day, just because the way the body responds, I guess. I mean, the body typically responds normally, but with the Parkinson's component, fatigue being an issue, you have to kind of use a little flex approach to it. So the answer is yes, you can over-exercise, but the good news is you'll maybe be tired for the day or the following day. You just ease back on it a little bit until you progress to get a little bit more fit, and then you can add more challenging work to it. So I'm like, although my energetic class is challenging, I tend to be not the hardest trainer. I work conservatively with people. I find it's really easy to train someone hard. It's hard to train someone appropriately. So your answer, a long-winded answer, is yes, you can over-exercise. Just use the afternoon and the day after as your threshold, your barometer, in terms of whether you can add more stuff to it. And then the other question was the YouTube channel. Just search my brand, Smart XPD, one word, or my name, Patrick Lasasso. And if you can't spell my last name, you'll notice there's an S in my last name. So that's how the S's are arranged. Anyway, thanks everyone again, and be safe and be well.
Thank you so much, Patrick. It was great.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.